And cash. Ready to burn some cash.
So that is Jerod Mayo speaking moments ago at the league annual meetings in Orlando, Florida, and it sounds like somebody is on script.
He is saying a lot.
So
can you play that again? What he said, he doesn't regret it. When he said that to us, did anybody assume it meant only if the player is a perfect fit?
No.
I mean,
no, we can play it again. Sure.
Yeah, no, I don't regret it. Look, I'm a first-year head coach. I didn't mean like burn some cash. I know we have a lot of cash to utilize, but we are going to utilize it the right way. We have to be very convicted.
That's not at all what you said. I mean, maybe that's what you meant, but it wasn't how it came across at all.
And cash. Yeah. Ready to burn some cash.
I mean, I don't understand what the issue is. They got rid of the cheapskate, right? Wasn't Bill Belichick the cheapskate who wouldn't spend on any players?
Well, that's what we all believe, or at least that's the direction that they took us in. That Bill was the one who, we're going to make sure we're spending money in the right places, on the right people.
And the bad vibes are gone, so you would think everybody would want to sign here.
Yeah, it's just, it's not like a good look for Mayo when he has to kind of go back and now walk some of these things back that he said and you kind of put a spin on it, because it's almost like he probably felt like, all right, we got money, which most of us thought, well, then we're going to go out and spend it. But now it's like, well, you got money, but we're going to spend it the right way.
And what does him being a first-year head coach have to do with anything?
I like this comment in the Twitch chat. Dudweiser says, I'm a first-year head coach. I didn't realize I have no say in what players we get. That's what he means.
But saying that you're a first-year head coach has no relevance to that question. Unless you're just saying that you're learning on the job.
No, because when he sat with us that morning, he was under the impression that he would be allowed to spend what he wanted to spend on the players that he wanted to spend it on. And it is clear, in my mind, that the person who has been denying the check writing is Robert Kraft. Curtis points it out all the time. This team over the last decade has been dead last when it comes to spending on players. So nothing's changed. Let's be clear about that. You put out a 10-part docuseries if you want on how egregious Bill Belichick was, and it doesn't change the impression that we all get, which is that you're not willing to spend big money on big free agents.
It's just going in a very, very different direction that a lot of us thought it was going to go in when, with Mayo being the new coach and, now the meanie's gone and Bill's gone. It's like, all right, now we're going to be a player in free agency. We're going to answer all questions, but now it's like taking a different turn.
I'm sorry, Greg. I think that I understand. You're right that it's up to Robert, but I can't begin to fathom that Jerod Mayo sat down with us and thought he was going to be able to spend like a drunken sailor and then found out the hard way. Like, I think in hindsight, this is Tom Warner. This is trying to get fans excited, because if it was not how it was intended, if the way we took that quote, that was the pull-out quote of the interview when he was with us for an hour, they had ample time, and the Patriots are great at saying, no, you're wrong. This is what he meant to say. They allowed
cash. Yeah. Ready to burn some cash.
They allowed that for 2 months.
Yeah.
To sit out in the ether. So I think in hindsight, it was all organized that Jerod knew what their budget was going to be. But
why would he say that then?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't part of the interview. It was the last question of the interview. And I threw it out there. And I think he wanted to say something. It's like when Michael Scott was at the shareholder meeting and he said, we're going completely carbon neutral. It was just something you say to appease people who are otherwise angry that you're there.
So do you think he didn't believe it when he said it back then?
No, I think he said it as a way to say, we're going to burn some cash. I got to get out of here. It's been an hour. I'll talk to you guys later.
See, I think that he thought they would.
Same.
It was like when Michael Scott went to the Italian place and he ordered the gabagoo.
Yeah. If the salad comes on top, I send it back.
Yeah. Something that doesn't exist.
Right. He said gabagool.
I think that that Mayo was saying it like because he believed it.
I think he did too.
Yeah, I think he believed it, and then it
was a week after he was named head coach. I think he thought that he'd be allowed to do what he wanted to do.
I think most people that when they saw the Patriots, just their cash availability going into the season, I thought most people felt like, all right, they're going to spend some money, right? And I think Mayo's just probably coming in as their head coach thinking the same thing. Oh, we got
saying no brainer.
Yeah, we got plenty of money. We're going to be a big player in free agency. We obviously need free agents. So, yeah, we got cash. We got money to burn. We're going to spend it. So he kind of says it like jokingly off the cuff, but he believes that, all right, why wouldn't we spend money?
And a great point by Dubs98.5 in the Twitch chat. Thanks for switching over like everybody else has. This is actually like when Michael Scott promised to pay the kids' tuition. Right?
Scott's Tots.
Yes. One of the great episodes of all time.
This is Andy from Hudson. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Greg, how are you doing, brother?
What's going on, man?
Well, you guys are forgetting, and I'm surprised Wiggy's forgetting, but after Cam Newton came, they went out and spent $230 million or $250 million on free agency.
Bill did that.
They got no results.
Bill Belichick did that. Remember him?
Yeah, but how were those results? They didn't come in too good.
They
That
did
wasn't
great.
very
They
well
went
spent
from
money.
7-9 to a playoff team in Mac's rookie year. They helped. Don't allow them to say that didn't work. It did. You went from a bad team to a playoff team.
You got Judon out of the deal. I mean, I know
You got Hunter Henry. Just gave him another contract.
Yeah, I know you miss out on certain players, but that's like every free agency. You're not hitting on every guy, but you got to spend money to be. You got to spend money to be in the conversation. It's just weird that I don't know. Like it almost, now that I'm starting to see what it is, it almost seems like that Mayo is just the coach.
Yeah.
He's not in on many of the conversations. He's not in the loop. He's kind of this there. You coach the team. Whatever players we give you, that's who you coach. And then it seemed that way.
Yeah.
And Elliot Wolf and the front office people plus the crafts are like, all right, we'll figure out where we're spending the money and who we're bringing in.
And Michael, instead of giving them a tuition, gave them all free laptop chargers, not even a laptop at the end of that episode. A+.
Shine, we have more from Mayo?
Yeah, here's a cut on Mayo clarifying their draft and free agent plan, I guess you would say. Okay. And not to play into what we've already been discussing here about spending money or not spending money, it's interesting a comment he makes in the middle of this. I want you to listen carefully.
The clarity I will begin with is free agency. Obviously, the media, the fans, everyone wants that big signing. But at the same time, as we continue to put this team together, I think there has to be a process. It has to be a methodical process. And look, when there is a guy that we want to get, the Crabs have already told us like they'll spend the money. And I would say offensively this year, we were very picky as far as the players that we were getting. And at the same time, that wasn't really a deep offensive free agent class to even make that type of splash.
Listen, I would agree with him on that level. Right? When you look at the free agency, especially the biggest wide receiver of this class was Calvin
Ridley.
But it doesn't have to be a free agent. We've talked about this, Wiggy, over
Well, it'd have to be a
again.
trade, right?
Right, where you spend top dollar. The biggest changes, the Chiefs with the trade of Tyreek Hill, the Vikings with the trade of Steph Diggs are the two, and then there's others out there, but those two specifically reshaped offenses, and the players were given new big deals to exercise the trade.
Well, and so the only little bit of like the only piece I'm giving them right now, they swung and they missed on free agency. You got an F in free agency. So you're only kind of like, all right, I'm giving you one chance is you swing that big trade during the draft and that be that guy that you go get.
Well, I think he goes on to say that they'd be willing to trade down. Right? Sean, you happen to have that by any chance? It certainly it suggests that they would be willing to trade that number 3 pick.
Now, we're saying that the draft is coming up. There will still be conversations as far as trades and things like that, and guys will be released. So this is a process that's going to go on all the way until after the draft.
Like if the Patriots on draft night, let's say they traded next year's first and second round pick for T. Higgins, wouldn't we be excited about that?
Yes,
and then they
but
sign
you're
him to a new
living
deal.
in a fantasy world. They're not going to do that.
Well, it's not fantasy just yet. It's still listen, there's a small chance, and it's a reality that could happen. And I could only see him going, well, we didn't want to spend money on the free agents because we're going to make this big splash, and we're going to use that money that we would have had to use, that we would be spending on Calvin Ridley. We're going to use it to give T. Higgins a long-term deal. That's the only piece of hope that I'm holding out for as a Pats fan right now that they do.